Good morning. I'm Judge Tammy Long Hayward. This is the State Court, Courtroom 304. This is the jail and probation. Oh, sorry, I got feedback. Hold on just a second. All right, I think I fixed it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the State Court of Clayton County, the jail and arraignment and probation calendar. I'm going to call the calendar. The attorneys are going to respond on behalf of their clients. Client does not have, then that person will interview them and make sure that they either have counsel that is just not here, they want counsel and we can appoint, or they're wanting to represent themselves. So we'll do all of those things. So, yes, Mr. Lynch?
Oh, Judge, I'm sorry. I'm not meaning to.
Oh, no, I thought you were going to ask me something.
Not yet, Judge.
Okay, so the first person on the calendar is Javon Barnett. It was a Lister and Holt case, and now it seems it's with a Zakia Watson Cafe.
So yeah, Judge, I saw that there was an appointed or a private attorney on one of the cases. I tried to research and figure out if we had some sort of a conflict, but I didn't find any indication that we represented any of the parties that I checked on, which would have been the victims in the case. Judge, as far as
wait, oh, let me just for the record, Miss Barnett has 1, 2, 3, or Mr. Barnett, I'm sorry. Javon Barnett, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cases. And it looks like Lister and Holt is on 4 of the 5.
Yes. And Judge, I hate to take up time from the court, but could we do potentially a breakout room with me and Mr. Tipton and yourself? I just wanted to say something about
okay.
This.
Let me finish the call with the calendar and then we'll do a breakout. All right, so next is Aquavis Boozer.
Your Honor, that's a negotiated plea.
All right. Latoya Buckley is a petition.
And Judge, I've spoken to Ms. Buckley, and notwithstanding earlier discussions, she has decided to stipulate and ask the court to accept the recommendation from the probation office.
Okay. Next is Brenda Chambers.
Yes, Your Honor. We would like to move forward with this non-negotiated.
All right. Preston Kamay Collier.
Your Honor, so that's an eval.
Okay.
Do
we need to have a hearing for it? Or have I previously signed the evaluation?
The evaluation was previously signed, Judge. It does seem that he's heading in the right direction, but I don't have a resolution for the court, so I kind of wanted to seek some guidance, and if we could maybe get one more reset, and I can talk to Mr. Moore about if there are any additional steps we can take. I know he is receiving medication.
All right. Do you need 1 week, 2 weeks? To tell me about timeline.
week just because he's in this right now and I can get some guidance and potentially.
Okay. So Deputy Mr. Collier can go back. We'll reset his case for 1 week. Thank you. Next is Allred Jackson.
Your Honor, that would be a negotiated plea.
Okay. Shamari Mitchell.
Judge, that will be a negotiated plea today.
Samantha Orange. This case is a petition.
Yes, Your Honor, my client will be accepting the probation's recommendation.
Okay. And Gerard Elijah Peoples petition.
Judge, that's going to be a stipulation and we're going to ask the court to accept the recommendation from the probation office.
All right, so give me a moment and I'll set up the breakout room for me, you, and Mr. Tipton.
Your Honor, before we do that, if I may inquire from Mr. Lynch. Mr. Lynch, is that a total stipulation on Ms. Buckley's case or just to the technicals?
So she's going to stipulate that she's been arrested for a new offense.
All right. Thank you, sir. Oh, didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize. And Your Honor, we do have Corporal Moriarty on here. State would request would request to excuse Corporal Moriarty.
All right, he can be excused because we're not having a full hearing. They have agreed to stipulate and agree on the record. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor, and thank you, Corporal. Have a great day.
You too as well.
All right. All right, so let me set up the breakout room. So we're gonna bring out Mr. Barnett, and then let me talk to him and determine what is going on with representation. After we talk to Mr. Barnett, then we'll go down the list of announced cases. So I don't think y'all announced that y'all needed to talk to keep us moving forward. Thank you for that. And so we'll go ahead, and once we speak with Mr. Barnett, we'll be able to go straight through the calendar after that. Put new graphics on Zoom recently, and I'm trying to
I ran into
navigate.
I ran into that with the chat function. It seems like the update or something kind of changed the way it worked a little bit.
Yeah, like they used to have where you could pin somebody speaking out anymore. Maybe it's under something else. Oh, I see now. Okay. Interesting.
Right next to me. Judge is up there. If this goes black, she'll be up there. Mr. Barnett, before we go forward, I just need you to understand we are in a public setting. Anything you say here is going to be recorded. The prosecutor is on this meeting. So I advise you not to make any statements that could potentially incriminate yourself. But here we are in front of the judge.
Mr. Barnett, I don't want to ask you about your cases individually. What I want to ask you is about who's representing you. So my list says that you have 5 cases. And on one of the cases, you have an attorney named Zakia Watson Cafe, but that person is not here today, and we don't have them on our schedule. No, and I'm not aware of who they are. I don't think they've ever been before me. And then we also have the next 4 cases. You're represented by Lister and Holt and Dennis, and that would be Mr. Lynch and Ms. Tortorello, who's in the courtroom. So tell me what's going on with your lawyer situation.
I'm not really sure. As far as anybody reaching out to me to talk to me about these cases or anything, I haven't heard a word.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to speak up just a little bit for me or come closer to the microphone.
I said I'm not really sure. I said
Okay.
no one has contacted me haven't reached out to me about these cases. So
All right, and so Mr. Lynch has indicated that he wishes to speak to you about the cases. You may not wish to speak with him. What's going on with that?
Yes, I do not feel comfortable with speaking with him about these cases because I feel like he's not going to represent me for like my best interests. So I feel like I have the option to see if I can get another attorney or be able to speak with another attorney about my cases.
Okay, and you base that on what? Have you met Mr. Lynch before? Has he represented you before?
From the first time I've spoken with him about a case, it seemed like he wanted to do a plea deal or anything like that.
I'm sorry, I'm still not hearing you well, Mr. Barnett. Speak up for me. That's better.
Oh,
That's better.
I was saying from the first time I had spoken with him, it seems like to me he just only wanted me to make like a plea deal or anything like that, and I have yet to explain my side of the story and my side of like what happened within any of the situations within these cases. So I just feel best for me to try to find another attorney or speak with someone else.
Okay, so we're gonna contact this Zakia Watson Cafe and see what's going on with her. We may grant you a continuance to move your cases to another calendar until we can see whether she's gonna take all of your cases.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. So it may be it is likely going to be a continuance.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, then. I just wanted you to know what was going on and to make sure that you didn't have any questions of the court.
Yeah, I don't have no questions.
All right. Thank you, sir. You can go on back down with the sheriff. All right. So we're going to track down Ms. Watson Cafe, find out whether she's taking all of the cases or just this one. If she's taking just this one, then we may consider conflict counsel or some other method of getting representation for Mr. Barnett. All right, and so that being said, because I don't think he's like ever had you, Mr. Lynch. is- there may be other issues present. All right, so the next person on the calendar is Aquavis Boozer. When Aquavis Boozer comes up, we'll be ready.
I think deputy's getting a minute.
No problem.
Boozer, yeah, great.
Yeah, I can run it. How are you? Your Honor, respectfully, we're ready whenever you are.
Good morning. Mr. Boozer,
Ma'am.
raise your right hand for me, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down, sir. So you're before the court on State of Georgia versus Aquavis Boozer, 2025 CR 05619, 05610. You're represented by attorney MJ Tortorello. She's with you at the podium. Ms. Tortorello, what is your client plead to the offense of criminal trespass?
Your Honor, that would be a guilty plea.
Okay. So, Mr. Boozer, by entering a plea of guilty to criminal trespass, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, sir?
Yes, I do.
All right. Factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On June 3rd of 2025, Officer Police Department responded to a loitering on the airport property complaint where they made contact with the defendant, Mr. Aquavis Boozer. Mr. Boozer was told to exit the property. He refused to exit, and as a result of failing to exit upon the request of officers who were patrolling the airport, he was arrested for criminal trespass. The state's recommendation, Your Honor, is 12 months, serve 21 days, credit for time served, balance suspended upon do not return to the Atlanta airport without a ticket to fly.
All right. Ms. Tortorello?
Yes, Your Honor. I only ask that you accept the plea as negotiated, Your Honor.
All right. So, Mr. Boozer, I'm going to sentence you to 12 months to serve 21 days. time served, balance as long as you do not go back to Hartsfield Jackson Atlanta International Airport without a ticket for travel on that day. And that's in exchange for your plea of guilty to the offense of criminal trespass. Okay. All right. So, sir, yeah, they're cracking down on people being at the airport unless they have actual business at the airport, either flying in or out or working there. And so please be mindful of that. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
If you need a little assistance, then you may want to ask to speak with one of the chaplains at the jail before you leave, and they may have some information about things that can, organizations that might help you transition forward, okay? All right, thank you, sir. All right, Buckley. All right, Ms. Buckley, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you're before the court on State of Georgia versus you can put your hand down. I'm sorry. Latoya Denise Buckley. You before this court for driving under the influence on the 20th day of May, 2025. You were sentenced to 12 months on probation. And you have 11 months and 6 days remaining on probation. It's alleged by the probation office that you violated the criminal law. You committed the new offense of DUI, combined substances, no insurance, driving on a suspended or revoked license on or about May 30th, 2025 in Clayton County, Georgia. You failed to report on June 3rd, 2025. You last reported on June 2025. You failed to complete a medical evaluation. You failed to pay your $180 in arrears. Okay, Mr. Lynch, what's going on with Ms. Buckley?
So Judge, before the new arrest, she was very recently placed on probation. I know that she did make some attempts, and I think she has had some contact with Ms. Chang. Judge, my client is 44 years old. She does suffer from several conditions that put her in constant pain, fibromyalgia, lupus. She does children that she takes care of. She is employed, or she was, I'm not sure if she still has the employment, but she's working at the Red Roof Inn in Conley, Georgia. Judge, I believe her intent was to comply with probation, Judge. We are stipulating that she was arrested for a DUI and driving on a suspended license, among other charges.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not sure how you can say that, Mr. Lynch. And as an officer of the court, you have to be careful about what you say on behalf of a client, because if her intent was to comply, she knows that her license was suspended as an action of if not before, at least of the conviction for driving under the influence. And so if she was intending to comply with what was going on, she was not to have any substances, and she was not to drive with a suspended or revoked license, because that would result in her getting rearrested. So if her intent was to comply, then she would have stayed home.
And, Judge, we did discuss the driving on a suspended license portion of it in reference to the DUI suspension. The only thing I can say about that is I think there was some confusion on her end as when the suspension took effect. But I
Okay. Miss Buckley doesn't have to know law to figure out that she was wrong. She doesn't have to know law to know that when I sentenced her, and this is not what she should have been doing. I mean, we can make all the excuses that we want, but I'm not giving Miss Buckley credit because she didn't go to law school, because I told her everything she needed to know when I sentenced her. Now, maybe I need to review that transcript, which I'm sure Miss Martin will gladly provide, so that I can see where I messed up. Because obviously, for Miss Buckley to go out 10 days later and get another DUI and risk killing herself or somebody, I mean, does she care that she has kids?
Judge, so her child's grown. She has grandchildren.
Oh, okay. So about
But
that, because her kids are grown, but she might be out here about to kill somebody else's child.
so, Judge, I understand the point the court's making, and I'm not contesting it. I believe that well, my understanding is she was pulled over on the way to work.
She was what?
My understanding is that the DUI charge was made in the morning when she was on her way to work, and I think.
And how does that cut for her, Mister? I'm trying to see the positive.
What I'm getting at, Judge, is that innocent until proven I'm guilty on that, but I think it's based largely on statements about medication that she's taking in a therapeutic capacity rather than alcohol, Judge. I understand that it's charged as combination, but I believe that is there.
Well, let's see if me and Ms. Chang are on the same page. Ms. Chang, what's the recommendation?
Your Honor, probation recommends that 120 days be revoked, balance suspended, close the case.
All right. That sounds good to me. That should give you time to kind of like get some clarity on what it means to be responsible. I get that people have medical issues that affect them, but those people who know that they're on strong medicines for pain and those things, so especially opioids, then they know that they have to make other arrangements when it comes to getting around, driving. There's Uber, there's Lyft, there are all of those things. And you couldn't drive anyway. You don't have a license. So you just out here wilding. All right, so that works for me. 120 days to serve. When the way the state of the jail is now, she'll be out tomorrow. Yeah, Miss Buckley, this is what I want you to know. Everybody's got something. Everybody's got some kind of issue that they're dealing with, whether it's medical, whether it's something physical, whether it's something mental, whether it is something stress related in their lives, all of these things. I have friends who have lupus and they've chosen to turn to a healthier lifestyle, eating differently, stress reduction, meditation, yoga, all of those things that are available to you. And you can go online and pull up some and do this, and it's totally free. You can do guided meditation on YouTube. It's totally free. So there are alternatives to you getting behind the wheel of a car and totally disregarding what the court has said and possibly putting somebody else in jeopardy because you got issues. Don't make your problems somebody else's problems. We clear?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right, so defendant shall have 120 days revoked after service of 120 days in the Clayton County Jail with credit since the date of lockup. Defendant shall be released and balance suspended as long as she has no new violations of the law.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Buckley. Ms. Chang, I'm sending the order over.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, I have Chambers next, but I'll take whoever y'all bring up.
Quiet a little bit.
I'm not talking to clients.
Loudly is the operative word.
She kind of forced me to talk to her. You're trying to get me to talk to her all the time.
I saw that.
She's coming out, Your Honor.
All right, no problem. Good morning.
Morning.
All right, so Miss Brenda Joyce Chambers,
That's right.
you're before the court for theft by taking and criminal trespass, and this is case 2025 CR 05639. You're represented by Attorney Tortorello, who's with you at the podium. Raise your right hand for me, ma'am.
Raise your hand. Right.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. Thank you. All right. So by Chambers, I'm going to ask a couple of questions to your attorney, and then I'm going to explain your rights to you, okay?
Okay.
Ms. Tortorello, for the offenses of theft by taking and criminal trespass, what is your client plea?
We are, we're moving forward non-negotiated, Your Honor, so
Yes.
wondering if we could discuss the sentencing first before she puts something on the record.
Okay, so Ms. Chambers, I will hear from the state and their recommendation. I will hear from your attorney and her recommendation, and I will make a decision, and you may have to decide whether you wish to take the plea or whether you wish to go to trial. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Your Honor, I don't think that that's appropriate for a non-negotiated plea because they're trying to have the judge preview what the sentence is, and the point of and if they're doing a non-negotiated plea, it should be a totally blind plea. That's my understanding of the statute. If you can give me a moment, I can look it up.
Well, Ms. Tortorello, what is it you wish to have your client plea to these offenses? And then I'll entertain the recommendation from the state and your recommendation.
Thank you for that statement on the record, Your Honor. She's wishing to plead guilty.
All right. Both offenses. All right. So now, uh, Miss Chambers,
Yes, ma'am.
by, something is going haywire with my computer. By entering a plea of guilty, you would give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You would give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You would give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You would give up the right to confront witnesses, testimony, and evidence on to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
Understand.
All right. So, factual basis and the state's recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On May 11th of 2025, Officer Bruno with the Atlanta Police Department, while working at the Atlanta at Hartsfield Jackson International Airport, had reason to make contact with Miss Chambers. Several women who were, several crossing guards who were handling pedestrian traffic stated that the defendant before you, Miss Chambers, had gone through their purses. They were able to make contact with Miss Chambers and found credit cards on her person that did not belong to her. They had completely different names, and there was a total of 4 different credit cards belonging to 4 different people. Miss Zahir, Zahir Fuller, Fuller, Erica, Ericka, Bell, Bell, Jatavius, Jatavious, Evans, Evans, and Brandon, Brandn, Roebuck, Roe the second, none of whom shared a name with Miss Chambers. Your Honor, Miss Chambers has an extensive history, included. And Miss Chambers was also previously criminally trespassed from the location. Your Honor, she was previously criminally trespassed based on a pending baggage removal from 2024 from the which is from the Atlanta airport. She has previous convictions on her record, including, homicide from this is Jasper, Alabama. Public order violation remaining on the presence from Birmingham.
Objection. Can counsel just read through her criminal record that's relevant to theft? What does homicide and is it
Okay, well, that's all right. That's all right, Miss Tortorello. I'll only go over what's relevant to the criminal trespass and the homicide.
unless you have a certified conviction, counsel?
Why do I need the homicide?
What was that, Your Honor?
I was trying to figure out why I needed the homicide.
You have to excuse me.
The Alabama case appears to be concomitant with criminal trespass under our statute. So that appears to be a criminal trespass-like offense. Now, what are the other offenses that are relevant to the theft by taking and the criminal trespass?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Remaining on presence after public order crime, entering and remaining on presence from 2015, Birmingham. Theft by shoplifting, 2020, Birmingham. Criminal mischief, 2020, Bessemer, Alabama. Shoplifting, 2020, Jasper, Alabama. Vehicle theft and burglary from Montgomery, Alabama, 2020, which appears to have been changed to breaking and entering vehicle from Montgomery, 2021. Theft by shoplifting, Montgomery, 2021. Shoplifting and of Hoover, Alabama, 2022. Then to her Georgia crimes, And those were convictions, Your Honor. Criminal damage to property, Fulton County, 2023, conviction. Terroristic threats, Clayton County, 2023, conviction. And then unlawful removal of baggage or cargo pending in Clayton County. Your Honor, state's recommendation at this time would be 180 days to serve. Balance suspended on count 1, do not return to the Atlanta airport. Count 2 would be a consecutive 12 months, do not return to the Atlanta airport.
All right, Ms. Tortorella. So first, let me ask this. So the baggage theft at the airport or baggage removal, that's a felony. Is she in court in jail on the felony?
I don't, is it on the felony, Your Honor? If I may have one moment, I'll double check.
Is this what?
I don't believe he's in jail on the felony, Your Honor. I think it's from the new case, but I can have.
No,
an
but
answer,
you
Your
said it
Honor.
was pending. That's the only reason I asked that, is whether she was currently awaiting adjudication of the baggage offense.
And Your Honor, I have that it is still pending, but that she is not in jail on the baggage offense.
Okay. All right.
She's
Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor, just to put on the record, she has bonded out on her pending case. So the only case that's holding her is this theft by taking and criminal trespass. I understand my client's extensive criminal history regarding theft. She is an elderly lady, Your Honor. She's already served 45 days for a theft by taking. And it would be extremely punitive from the state to ask for 180 days on the theft by taking. And I believe ASG Tipton advised that count 2 would be consecutive. So originally the state asked for 90 days, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I would object to this. This is.
Hold on. Let her speak, and then anything you want to clear up we're not gonna go back and forth. We're gonna each speak in turn. That's different.
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead, Ms. Tortorella.
Thank you, Your Honor. If she served the 45 days, then for one, it would be 9. I just asked for credit for time served, Your Honor, so she can move forward and focus on her felony case.
Okay, but the concern, so they found 4 separate credit cards. That could be treated as 4 separate events of theft. They're not in this case, but what I'm saying is there are 4 separate victims of the offense she's charged with. So I get why the state, that plus her history, I get why the state is not seeing her as a helpless little old lady.
Your Honor,
But hold on. The issue is more about keeping her out of the airport and how long we're going to be able to do that. And for me, the part where it's consecutive, not consecutive, she's got to be in jail, but consecutive, she can't go back to the airport. So that would keep her out of the airport for 2 years. Which I don't have a problem with that.
just to add and put place on the record, the accusation only names 1 victim, Your Honor. All the other victims that the state has put on the record are not in the accusation, and they're not alleging anything. They only have 1 victim for this case, Your Honor, and the Atlanta airport, just to put that on the record.
Okay, that's fair.
And my client does not intend to go back to the airport, Your Honor. She's already served 45 days in jail for this.
Yeah, they never do, Ms. Tortorella, but the airport is a touchstone of comfort and safety for people who are living on the street or who are in unstable situations. And so the intent is not to go back there. The intent is to be safe or to be comfortable or to have a place where you can access food or money from panhandling or other activities. And so the intent is never to go back there just to commit a crime. It is because it is such an attractive place to be if you do not have stability. So how long has she been in jail?
45 days, Your Honor.
All right. So what I'm willing to do is the 45 days credit for time served as long as she does not go back to the airport, but it would also be an additional 12 months consecutive of not going back to the airport. I don't want her to report for probation. I don't want her to give us money. I don't want any of that. I just want her to stay away from the airport 24.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Chambers, nobody's gonna see you as a helpless little old lady. Miss Ma'am. So what you need to start working on is what you're gonna do now to get stability. So if you need assistance when you're coming out of the jail, talk to one of the chaplains, and they may have information about the Hearts to Nurse Hope, the Salvation Army, House of Ruth, any of those places that may provide you the ability to transition from jail to stability. You cannot go back to the airport for the next 24 months. The airport can't see you. Even if you have a ticket for travel, you might need to travel out of the Birmingham airport.
Yes, ma'am.
Are we clear?
I understand.
Okay, because should you violate the sentencing conditions, then I would be willing to put you in jail for a longer period of time. So for the plea, you're entering a plea of guilty to count 1 and 2. The count 1 is going to be 12 months to serve 45 days credit for time served. Balance will be suspended as long as you do not go back to Hartsfield Jackson, Atlanta International Airport at all. Not even with a ticket to travel at all. No go. And then count 2 will run consecutive for 12 months, as long as you suspended, as long as you do not go back to Hartsfield Jackson Atlanta International Airport.
I understand.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. You can go back with the sheriff's office now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, next.
Judge, I guess we go ahead and do Mr. Peoples' petition.
You can do who?
Peoples is one of the probation petitions.
Okay, that's fine.
Ms. Chang out of here, we could do Orange next, and I think that would be all the petitions.
This is Mr. People.
Yes, Judge.
Raise your right hand for me, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true? Sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can put your hand down. You're before the court on State of Georgia versus Jared Elijah Peoples, 2025 CR 03985. You were before this court for simple assault, family violence, simple battery, family violence on the 6th day of May 2025, and you were sentenced to 12 months on probation You have 10 months and 11 days on probation, and you fail to avoid contact with the victim. The defendant has failed to avoid having contact of any kind or character, direct or indirect, in person or otherwise, with the victim, Yolanda Brown, or any member of the victim's family on or about June 10th, 2025. You failed to report to probation upon release from jail. You've never reported. You failed to document an anger management program. Failed to complete community service. You were given 60 hours of community service to complete, and you failed to pay. You're currently $100 in arrears. Mr. Lynch?
Judge, so just to start with the contact issue there, my understanding is he was arrested for, or police were called to the scene where he was sleeping in the gym area at an apartment complex where his mother resides. His mother's Yolanda Brown. But it wasn't as though he was, had another case with his mother. That's my understanding of that aspect. Recently released.
So why stating that he had contact when that would have just been a simple trespass, a criminal trespass?
And I don't know exactly the parameters of what's in the police report, Judge, but I think that after the police were called towards a criminal trespass, he may have been around his mother when the police was, because she lives in that apartment complex. That's accurate.
Okay, I'm confused.
Okay. So I'm not exactly sure what the probation office is basing that on, because
Mr. Tipton, do you have the police report?
No, Your Honor, I've not been provided with a police report yet.
Ms. Chang, do you have any more information or anything that might help clarify?
Your Honor, he was incarcerated on June 10th for violation of a bond. And I have the warrantless arrest affidavit from that date that I can send to the court
Yes,
if you'd
ma'am.
like.
And may you send it to me as well, Ms. Chang? I don't recall if I saw it in my emails.
I don't believe I sent that. No.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
send it to me too, so we can all.
Yes.
Please, Ms. Chang.
I'll share it. I don't care.
And Mr. Lynch, I'll print it off and have someone bring it down to you.
Good chance.
May take me a little bit to find this. Apologize.
Okay, I'll be right here. All right, I received it. Is everybody ready?
Your Honor, I've instructed my legal assistant to bring the warrantless arrest affidavit to Mr. Lynch so that he can be prepared.
I have it. I'm just reading it right now. Ms. Chang sent it to me.
Do you still want a physical copy, sir?
No, I do not. So Judge, I do need to, we are still going to ask that the court accept the recommendation from the state, but from looking at this affidavit, it doesn't appear that Ms. Brown made a complaint and that it's based on him being at the residence. And that's consistent with what he indicated is that Ms. Brown was in Florida at the time.
All right, so, yeah, I'll give him that because it looks like the violation was based on him being at the location, which is still a violation. Of condition set by Judge Thorpe for another incident.
I'm sorry, Judge?
I said it looks like a bond condition set by Judge Thorpe in magistrate court, and was that for another incident?
So.
Never mind.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
All right, Ms. Chang, what's the recommendation?
Your Honor, probation that 30 days be revoked and suspend the balance, close the case.
Okay, Mr. Lynch.
Yes, Judge, I would ask the court accept that.
All right, but if I suspend, I'm gonna still have the provision in there that he's not to have contact with Yolanda Brown or go upon the location.
That's understood, Judge.
All right. 1 second. Okay, I'm putting in the note that he had no contact with Miss Brown, because, I mean, if he didn't have contact, he didn't have contact, that's fine with me. All right, I'm sending over. All right, thank you. And Mr. Peoples, understand that you're still not to go back to that location until the end of your sentence, okay? All right. You can go back with the sheriff's office. Yes, sir?
I have a question. So, uh, I've done, I have like worksheets and pieces of papers that I've done 8 hours. And I tried to get in contact with this, my probation officer, however, she didn't pick up. So what's the best time should I call you? And what's the
Well, once you finish, you're not going to be on probation anymore. Your probation is going to be suspended as long as you don't have any contact with Miss Brown. So you'll serve the time for the revocation and you won't have to go back to probation.
Alright.
All right, thank you. All right, who's next?
If we wanted to do Miss Orange, that would, I think, get Miss Chang out of here.
All right, that's fine.
Thank you.
Your Honor, may the state have just a brief moment to step away?
Sure.
Thank
All right, Miss Orange, raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am. Your Honor, I don't think Mr. Tipton's back.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. We'll hold.
It is returned, Your Honor. Thank you for that moment.
All right, Ms. Orange, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. So, Ms. Orange, you're before the court for State of Georgia versus Samantha Denise Orange, 2022 CR 0525. You were before this court for driving under the influence. Improper lane change on the 25th day of March 2025. You were sentenced to 12 months on probation. You have 9 months and 0 days remaining. You failed to avoid injurious and vicious habits. You tested positive for the metabolites of alcohol and for THC on May 22nd, 2025. And the Clayton County Probation Office, you failed to report on May 20th, 2025. You last reported on June 18th, 2025. You failed to complete a clinical evaluation as ordered. You failed to document proof of completing 40 hours of community service, and you are $480 in arrears. Ms. Tortorello is representing you. Ms. Tortorello, what's going on?
Yes, Your Honor, we're seeking a resolution here. She stipulates to the violation and we are accepting the probation's recommendation.
All right. So Ms. Orange, what's going on? Why we keep going back to what we know is destructive in our life? I can't hear you.
Ma'am,
What's going on? Why we drinking and smoking? Like I didn't say what I said.
that was my last time, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Don't do it to me. Please. You can lie to yourself, but don't lie to me.
No, ma'am.
Because I just sentenced you in March. And by May, you're like, forget that, judge. I don't care if I go to jail. I'm about to hit this blunt.
No, I had death in the family, and I know I did wrong. I did it, but I'm not making.
Okay. That's at least a more honest answer, because grief often sends people into a spiral and they don't control themselves the way they should. But ma'am, every day is something. You can't let every time something comes into your life, you can't let that knock you off your pedestal. You can't, because that's not an excuse. Something happens to somebody every single day. You know you have a problem with alcohol and drugs. You can't just say, oh, well, somebody died, so I'm going to just have a free-for-all. Because there's a saying in the Bible that says, let the dead bury the dead, let the dead bury the dead. But you're going to go over the edge to the point where after somebody dies, you're going to ruin your life, essentially killing your life. Yes, ma'am. How old are you?
I'm 32.
Okay, so what's the plan?
My plan is I'm done. I'm not going to get in trouble no more. I will not fail anything no more. I'm a month clean now.
You have kids?
I do.
Where are your kids while you're in here?
My sister.
Let me tell you something, ma'am. And I tell people this all the time. They don't really believe me. But your family members do not want your kids. They don't. They don't want to take care of your kids. They love them. They want to keep them out of the system, but they don't want to take care of your kids. Your parents especially have raised their own kids. And so it's unfair to them to say, oh, well, can you take care of my kids too? Because they didn't ask you to have kids for them. They didn't ask you to be their surrogate. If they wanted more kids, they would have had them. So what I say to you is every time you mess up, you're putting your kids in a bad. More important to you, whatever's going on with you by getting drunk and getting a little weed, instead of thinking about your babies. I just got to ask, like, what kind of mother is that?
It makes me a bad mother.
I didn't say as a bad mother, but you sure ain't the best.
Yes.
Because you putting yourself before them. I'm hurting right now, so let me just go ahead and get this drink and catch this weed. But the judge told me don't do it, or I could go back to jail. But I don't care about them kids. If I go back to jail,
Your Honor, you're breaking up.
oh, this interesting courthouse Wi-Fi. Yeah. If I go back to jail, somebody will get them kids. I'm not worried about that. That's essentially what you said. You understand that, right?
Yes, ma'am. I'm not looking at it like that.
You should be though, because that's what you did.
Yeah.
You said, I brought children into this world that I am responsible for to make sure that they grow up and have a good life and that they live such that they're not in somebody's house having to worry about walking on eggshells, or they're not out here looking for their mama and needing that emotional comfort that comes from a mom. I brought these kids into this world, but I'm more important right now. It's about me. Let me get this weed, and let me get this drink, because I know the judge told me that if she catches me, I'm about to, go back to jail and somebody's gonna have to take my kids, but it's really about me right now. That's what you said. You understand that, right?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. What's the recommendation, Ms. Chang?
Your Honor, probation recommends that 6 days be revoked, credit for time served since June 18th, return to probation, drug screen each report, complete an evaluation by July 15th, and attend one AA or NA meeting per week.
And Your Honor, just to place on the record, she did complete her evaluation on May 30th. She paid $150 and she did it online. And upon release, she's going to provide that to her probation officer.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Orange, the probation department, Ms. Chang, is recommending that you get a second chance. Now, when somebody comes for a DUI, I suspect that they're going to come back and test positive, because nobody really, A, thinks I'm serious, B, thinks they're going to get caught, and C, they think they're smarter than the random test. And so they figure, like, if I can just, do what I do, it's a chance that I won't get caught because those tests are random. So those things. But from now on, you're going to be testing at each report. And every time you think about taking another drink, I want you to call your AA sponsor or go to an AA meeting. Every time you think about smoking some weed, I want you to think about going the fact that when you're going to spend time away from your children. And your children are going to know where you are, because some messy relative, I don't care what fiction you make up to tell them where you are, some messy relative is going to tell them, oh, your mama in jail, because that's how we do.
Yes, ma'am.
So don't put that burden on them.
Yes, ma'am.
If you didn't want to have children and raise them and be with them, then you shouldn't have had them. I'm just going to tell you. Don't keep doing things that put your children in a situation where they have to depend on somebody other than the person who brought them into this world.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I'll follow the recommendation. But if you come back and we're having this issue again and you are not going to the AA meetings like I told you to go to, then it's going to be a different conversation. You understand that, right?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right. So, Ms. Chang, I'll have the order over in a minute.
Thank you, Your Honor. And if I may give her next appointment to come
Yes,
see me.
please. Yes.
Ms. Orange, if you would report this Thursday, June 26th at 10 a.m. to our office.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Ms. Chang, can you repeat her appointment time?
June 26th at 10 a.m.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so defendant shall have 6 days revoked with credit for time served. Upon release, defendant shall return to probation and complete all special conditions of probation and the additional special conditions of testing or for substances at each report, producing proof of a clinical evaluation by July 15th, attending one AA or NA meeting per week. Did I get everything, Mr. Chang?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. All right, so Ms. Orange, this is another opportunity, but please remember that this is not really just about you. You have people who are dependent upon you to stand up and get it right. And every time you mess up, you get punished, but they get punished worse.
Yes, ma'am.
All right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can go back with the sheriff's office.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All righty.
Your Honor, that's all I have this morning. May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. All
Thank
right,
you.
so we've completed all of the petitions. Mr. Barnett's case is going to be continued for at least a week until we can figure out his attorney situation. Case Barnett's case is. And it's my understanding for the record that his new attorney's office did get notice. They have not appeared. All right. Mr. Preston Collier is going to be reset for a week. We have Jackson, Mitchell. It looks like Jackson and Mitchell are the last two cases.
You're right. We're doing it next. I'm sorry, guys. I should have thought about that.
We're ready, Your Honor.
Is this Jackson?
Yeah.
All right, raise your right hand for me, Mr. Jackson.
Allred Jackson.
All right, do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down, sir. You're before the court on 2024 CR 03197. Allred Jackson for reckless conduct. You're represented by attorney MJ Tortorello, who's with the law firm of Lister, Holt, and Dennis. Ms. Tortorello, what does your client plead to the offense before the court?
Guilty, Your Honor.
All right. By entering a plea of guilty, sir, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself in the United States. A plea of guilt or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On March 30th of 2024, officers with the Clayton County Police Department responded to 5991 Riverdale Road in Atlanta, Georgia, in a portion of Atlanta that is within the boundaries of Clayton County. There they determined the defendant before you, Mr. Allred Jackson, in the safety of other persons by discharging a firearm at his vehicle. Your Honor, the state's recommendation is 12 months to serve 3 days, credit for time served, balance probated, a $100 fine, 40 hours of community service, forfeit the firearm. That is going to be a Smith & Wesson SD 40 caliber with the serial number F as in Frank, B as in Bravo, D as in Delta, 4484. And he is to he is to enroll in and complete a firearm safety class.
Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor, only that you accept the plea as negotiated.
Mr. Jackson, how old are you?
I'm 36, Your Honor.
Come closer to the microphone because we need to have a conversation.
Yes, ma'am.
You discharge a 40 caliber handgun in the open at a car. So let's just say that's one of the largest calibers we're talking about, like in common use.
Yes,
Where
ma'am.
you think the round was gonna go, sir?
At the time, Your Honor, I wasn't thinking. At that time, I was going through something. At that time, what happened was my son had just got killed at Fayetteville Walmart. It was a shooting there. A guy gunned him down or whatever. We just had left Grady Hospital, me and my girlfriend, and I stopped at the store to go in there and get us something to drink or whatever. And the guy,
I think I'm presiding over the civil case in this, so I probably don't need to hear anymore.
yes, ma'am.
But this is what I ask of you, Mr. Jackson. I need you to think. I know in the moments of deepest grief, we can lose it a little bit, but I'm not sure that you could have hurt someone else and you could have put someone in the same situation that you were in. What people don't understand when they discharge a firearm out in the public, unless it is intentional and you are doing it with the thought process of I have to protect myself or others that I love, think about the fact that nobody ever follows the bullet. You don't know where it's going to end up. So in that context, you could have hurt someone else and put them in the same situation that you were in. You got me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to accept your plea of guilty. I'll sentence you to 12 months to serve 3 days, credit for time served. The balance will be probated for you to pay a fine in the amount of $100. That's $151.50 with the surcharges. So that'll be the total. 40 hours of community service. You're to forfeit the 40 caliber firearm and with the serial number as provided by Mr. Tipton. And you're to take a firearm safety course and produce the certificate to probation. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Mitchell. Your Honor,
Yes.
can I ask a question? We have a status on June 80th, and I was wondering, and this might have already been supplied, but is that going to be Zoom option? Does that have a Zoom option, or is that all in person for the defendants?
What? I'm sorry. What are you talking about? I missed part of that.
The June 30th status calendar?
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry,
Ms.
Val.
Bell? It's both.
It's both. That's what I thought. I just wanted to confirm that.
It's both.
And it's gonna be Judge Hayward's login information,
Yes.
not the other one. Okay.
No,
thanks.
it's Judge Hayward.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Raise your right hand for me, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. So Mr. Shamari O. Mitchell, 2022 CR 01821, driving under the influence, less safe, open container count 1, open container count 3, count 2, open container count 3, obstruction of an officer count 4, traffic violation count 5, marijuana 1 ounce or less count 6. You're represented by the law firm of Lister, Holt, and Dennis. Mr. Owen Lynch is with you at the podium. Mr. Lynch, what does your client plead to the offenses before the court?
Judge, she's going to enter a plea of guilty to count 1, DUI less safe, guilty to count 4, obstruction of a police officer, no contest to count 5, red light traffic control violation, and I believe the other counts would be I believe counts 2, 3, and 6 would be null pros pursuant to the agreement unless Mr. Tipton disagrees.
Your Honor, state's actually going to be null pros in count 4 as well. There's a mandatory minimum on the amount of on the fine that's supposed to be included on an obstruction. However, my predecessor did not include that, and I do not wish to change up the agreement based on that. I think the fairest thing to do would be just to dismiss the charge.
All right, thank you so much. So Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
guilty to count 1, DUI less safe, NOLO plea to counts 5, which is traffic control violation. Counts 2, 3, 4, and 6 will be null pros per the state and per the agreement with Mr. Lynch. By entering these pleas, sir, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And Mr. Mitchell, if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
Yes.
All right, factual basis recommendation.
Yes, Your Honor. On March 28th of 2022, officers with the Clayton County Police Department, while patrolling the area of Garden Walk Boulevard near the intersection with Highway 85, did observe a blue in color Honda Civic driving erratically. They did observe the vehicle specifically running a red light. They initiated traffic stop. On initiating the traffic stop, they conducted standardized field sobriety tests, which resulted in several clues. Based off of the clues that they observed and the initial clues that they saw from contacting the defendant, they arrested the defendant for DUI less safe. State's recommendation, Your Honor, for count 1 is 12 months to serve 24 hours, credit for time served, balance probated, 40 hours of community service, substance abuse evaluation, any recommended treatment, no drugs or alcohol subject to random testing, DUI risk reduction course, and a $300 fine. Counts 2, 3, 4, and 6 will be null prost, and count 5 will be a $100 fine.
All right. Mr. Mitchell, this has been some time, so I'm going to assume that a lot of lessons have been learned in the interim between when this event happened and now.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to because I tell people all the time, y'all got some stuff we never had when we were in the hangout stage. We didn't have Lyft, we didn't have Uber. We had to call somebody and get told off. Or find a place to stay where we were. So, and the person you called, especially if it was a family member, never let you forget it. But, you can pay ahead of time and make sure that you have transportation to and from and to deal with that. So count 1, I'll sentence you to 12 months to serve 24 hours. Credit for time served. Balance will be probated for you to do 40 hours of community service, take a substance abuse evaluation, and undergo any treatment that they may order you to undergo. Have no alcohol or illicit drugs during the course of your probation, and you're subject to random screens for alcohol and drugs. And the last two people who just came before me tested positive because they didn't believe me about the random screens. But I promise you, the random screens will catch it. So no alcohol or illicit drugs. I'll take a risk reduction course and pay a fine in the amount of $300. It's going to be pretty pricey. The surcharges are going to be extra. So it's probably going to be around the $700 mark because of the DUI that accelerates the surcharges. And then count 5 will run concurrent with count 1. It's a $100 fine. It'll be $151.50 with the surcharges. Okay. All right, you're going to talk to probation. The quickest way to get rearrested is to fail to report for probation. That is a sure thing. If you fail to report for probation, then they will send me an arrest warrant. I will sign it, and you will be arrested at the next available opportunity. Okay. Please make sure you talk to your probation officers if there's any issues about you successfully completing any component of what I've asked you to do. They are very good at helping you work through any issues that you might have, or coming to me in the state and saying, hey, let's figure this out, and your attorney, so that we can make sure you successfully complete. But if you just stop going, or you say, I haven't done this, so I'm not going to report, that's going to be a problem. We clear?
Yes.
All right. You can go back with the sheriff's office.
And Judge, I don't think we need to do anything, but he did FTA from an arraignment. We don't need to do anything with like a bench warrant recall at this point, do we?
We should not, but yeah, if it's still outstanding, then it should pop up. But yeah, I don't think we have to do anything at this point. He's satisfied by appearing and having the case resolved.
Wonderful. Thank you, Judge.
All right.
Your Honor, I think that concludes Mr. Holton Dennis business. May we be excused for the day?
Yeah, I'll be back in court in a few minutes for the trial.
Thank you, Your Honor. I will see you momentarily.
All righty.